Enter the world of biblical humanities, where an enriching symphony for the mind, heart, and soul plays at the crossroads of the Bible and the humanities. Hello, I'm Jessie Lee from Hubel Center, South Korea. Jane Austen lived in an era when she confronted social challenges as a single female writer. Born into a rural parsonage family in Hampshire, England, she received limited formal education but grew up in a family that cherished reading and immersed itself in literature. By the age of 11, she was already crafting plays and romances, sharing her creations with her family. However, it wasn't until her father retired in 1801 that she, along with her distressed mother and elder sister, Cassandra, departed their hometown of Steventon for the larger city of Bath. Facing financial struggles, she moved from one relative to another, relying on their support until her brother Edward provided her with a small house in Chawton in 1809. This predicament was a blend of circumstance and her own decisions. At the age of 20, she nearly married Tom Lefroy, only for the engagement to be severed due to his family's objections. Then, at 27, she accepted Harris Bigg-Wither's proposal, but chose to embrace the life of a widow the next day rather than enter a loveless marriage. Settling in Chawton, she emerged as a prolific writer, publishing 6 novels in 8 years. That is, Sense and Sensibility, 1811, Pride and Prejudice, 1813, Mansfield Park, 1814, Emma, 1816. Northanger Abbey, 1817, and Persuasion, 1817, until her death from an illness believed to be cancer. Reflecting on the life of writer Jane Austen unveils 3 key insights. Firstly, the purpose for which she wrote evolved. Early on, she didn't write for financial gain but for the satisfaction of writing well. This is evident in a letter to her sister, Cassandra, at the age of 20. I am very much flattered by your commendation of my last letter, for I write only for fame, and without any view to pecuniary emolument. Her use of the term, fame, likely denotes her commitment to crafting each letter authentically and artistically, as opposed to seeking worldly vanity. This explains why, despite her quick and accurate writing, she spent extensive hours meticulously reviewing her work before satisfaction. She refined each piece with a delicate brush on 2 inches of ivory. For instance, her debut, Sense and Sensibility, in 1811, comprised 2 revisions of a 1795 work titled Eleanor and Marianne, and Pride and Prejudice was a complete revision of a 1796 work titled First Impressions. Secondly, she remained true to herself and wrote only what she desired. As Virginia Woolf points out, quote, they alone entirely ignored the perpetual admonitions of the eternal pedagogue write this, think that, unquote. As Catherine, the protagonist of Northanger Abbey, notes, she wasn't interested in history books filled with the disputes of priests and kings, wars and plagues, featuring only unremarkable men and no women. Instead, Austen wrote romance novels that scrutinized the lives, customs, and mindsets of her time. This she achieved by keenly observing people and situations with a curious eye. She portrayed the attitudes and ways of the various characters in the social circles of her time, with warm insight and a touch of refreshing humor, while critiquing the shortcomings of objective social realities and values with a sensitive touch. Sir Walter Scott praised her inherent talent for describing the involvements and feelings and characters of ordinary life and her exquisite touch, which renders ordinary commonplace things and characters interesting, from the truth of the description and the sensitivity of the sentiment. As her brother Henry Austen pointed out, she became a woman writer entirely in line with her own aesthetic and taste. And her meticulous observations and keen insights are still discussed today. Thirdly, despite challenging circumstances, she remained dedicated to her writing. Upon settling in Chawton, not to mention the preceding period, she found herself as a single woman, tasked not with the support of relatives, but with the responsibilities of managing the household and caring for the children. Her literary endeavors were pursued amidst these domestic duties. Lacking a personal workspace, she would write at a one-person desk in her living room, hastily covering it if someone entered. Starting from 1811, her published books generated taxable income, significantly improving her living conditions. However, the monotony of her daily routine persisted. For context, Sense and Sensibility earned £140. Pride and Prejudice, earned £110 and Mansfield Park, earned £310 to £350. Despite the challenges, she maintained an unadorned character, adhered to regular habits, and exhibited a serene and pleasantly preoccupied manner. As attested by her brother Henry Austen. With unwavering determination, she diligently crafted her novels. Reflecting on a letter she wrote at the age of 37, quote, "I am not at all in a humor for writing. I must write on till I am," unquote. Underscores the indispensable attitude shared by writers. Concluding this exploration of Jane Austen's literary world, I turn to the spiritual dimension of her life. Jane Austen is widely believed to have been a devout Christian. To begin with, her father, along with her 2 brothers and 4 cousins, were all ministers. Furthermore, her brother Henry, in his personal biographical introduction to her, describes her as thoroughly religious and devout. I anticipate conducting a more detailed assessment of her faith once I have access to additional material about her. However, my initial understanding of her religious convictions deepened after reading the prayers she consistently practiced in the evenings. I encourage you to explore 3 of her evening prayers when you have the opportunity, and I've included some excerpts below, quote, "May we now, and on each return of night, consider how the past day has been spent by us, what have been our prevailing thoughts, words, and actions during it, and how far we can acquit ourselves of evil. Have we thought irreverently of Thee? Have we disobeyed Thy commandments? Have we neglected any known duty, or willingly given pain to any human being? Incline us to ask our hearts these questions. O God, and save us from deceiving ourselves by pride or vanity." Unquote. When I read the initial part of this prayer, "Consider how the past day has been spent by us, what have been our prevailing thoughts, words, and actions during it," I recalled John chapter 17:17 in the New Testament, "Sanctify them in the truth, your word is truth." This is part of Jesus' prayer for his disciples not long before his crucifixion, expressing the desire that their hearts always be captivated by the truth. The holiness of our character and lives is determined not by what we own, where we live, or what we do, but solely by what we hold in our hearts. Reflecting on the concluding part of the prayer, "Save us from deceiving ourselves by pride or vanity," brought to mind the concept of undeception, or spiritual awakening, that C.S. Lewis asserted was consistently present in each of Austen's works. The arrogance of overestimating ourselves and the vanity of living for others' perceptions foster self-deception, leading us away from God. We must be awakened to this reality and be reborn into a new heart. Viewing ourselves as God sees us and utilizing our personality and gifts as instruments for the service of others. Despite Austen modestly describing her literary world as the little bit 2 inches wide of ivory, on which I work with so fine a brush, as produces little effect after much labor. Her fictional works have functioned as instruments of God, awakening and transforming the hearts and minds of countless individuals, myself included. For this, I am profoundly grateful to her. Thank you for delving into Jane Austen's lessons for writing and her spiritual life, which I hope resonate with you. Catch you soon.